Okay, so here I am making some flash bombs. This is a very rare item in WoW Classic. It requires some reagents, blue pearl, silk cloth, and heavy stone ground into heavy blasting powder. It's an engineering schematic. And what people don't know is that you can actually fear druids. Pretty much any shape-shifted form is considered beast, so druids can be feared by it, and hunters' pets. Uh, this is actually one of the this is actually one of my first times to use them in a battleground, but they are usables just like any other grenade or anything else, and they can be quite powerful, which you'll find out later by watching. And thanks for joining me. Thanks for tuning in. I'm a former rank 13 warlord on Vanilla WoW. Got lots of time in battlegrounds, and I'm so happy that battlegrounds have been released. Been playing them and enjoying them just like everybody else out there. Although Warsong Gulch we know is more fun. Archaic Valley just tends to be the honor suck right now. Get your honor in, and have fun. And if you need to take a break from the AV grind, put together a good group of people. Or as I like to say, if you have friends around who are ready to play Warsong Gulch, take it right then. Take it as it is. If it's handed to you, life gives you lemons, make some lemonade. Because you can get AV queues any time of day. You can go play AV by yourself. So this is a Archaic Guild on Smolderweb. And at the very beginning, we find out that we are actually up against a professional streamer by the name of Bhajeera over on Faerlina, which is like the very popular streamer. It's the very popular streamer realm, and yeah, famous to a lot of home to a lot of famous streamers. So we're definitely on comms. If you want to check this game out, I'm gonna put the Twitch link in the description so you can actually hear some of the voice call outs, the voiceover. Also have some other music too, but I'd rather have my videos of the day on YouTube narrated by myself. And yeah, it's somewhat of an organized game. We get a lot of team fights in the mid, and I tend to find decent poly targets if I can. I'm a little slippery. I kind of stay in a mid range. I'm not max range with fireball or anything. And as I start to get closer, I start to use more and more abilities. And should I get in any trouble, I throw myself in an ice block, which you can see often. And many times I escape. So I like to say that mages are quite slippery. So this is our opening fight here. It's just an all-out kind of battle royale, smash mouth sort of smash face, go all out. And here's a nice, beautiful power infuse. Unfortunately, I don't get to make a lot of it. It doesn't last too long, and sometimes polys are a little bit better. Uh, it's a spell that doesn't do damage, but polymorphs are priority over just pumping out damage as a mage. So here we are. Bhajeera just jumped in, and even though it was a charge, I did have to blink out, even if he was going to intercept, and I used Ice Block as my second safety on that one. Typically, as a mage, you don't want to blink out of a warrior charge stun. You want to blink out of their intercept stun. So it takes some patience to not blink at first charge, first stun coming in. If that's the case too, especially if they have a paladin with free action potion, you don't have much longer to get off a poly. If they're good, they should already be in berserker stance, ready to intercept if you blink. And if they're in berserker stance, they're also ready to pummel. So as a mage, you got some patience. You have to frost nova that charge, make some room, get a poly off if you can, and keep going. But that time, yeah, I just blinked because I knew there's no way out of this one. Which I did go and watch this game on a stream. I have my own criticisms too, so did my guild, and I don't want to spoil the outcome of the game, but yeah, we do win. Obviously, I want to show a great game and show some good highlights, but after watching a professional streamer and seeing what they do, he wasn't even on voice chat with this guild. And a lot of times people, I understand it's their profession, it's what they're doing, but I just felt like he panders to his audience, he's kind of saying like catchphrases and looking for big numbers, obviously coming up with excuses when things don't go his way, and many times just kind of hanging around waiting for a regroup and then just going in and expecting that he's going to live, but without any voice comms and coordination with the other people on your team, it's a huge setback. So Another thing I noticed too is that he seemed to just be in the wrong place at the right time. So, um, like he charged me earlier, and I had to blink instead of somehow living through a charge in front of like several other players. I mean, I can't not blink. I would be charged and then just dead right in front of him. So I had to blink. He probably would have just executed me because I was already pretty low health. So the times he comes across me, I usually just find I'm already low health, or what I would think is just kind of out of place. But that's just me. And I'm like anybody else. I can't I can't make excuses, like stuff happens. It's a complicated game. There's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, as you see, I'm almost dead and there he is again. But anyways, I think I rack up like 13 deaths in this game. It's obviously not my best, but I'm in there with 2 flag returns, and those flag returns led to some flag caps. So if you ask me, that's a really, really important thing. It's one thing to be in the fray. There's a lot of stuff going on: hot bars, keystrokes, button pushing, mouse clicking, panning camera. The list goes on. But within all of that, clicking the screen when somebody drops the flag, and doing so before enemy players pick it up. I mean, just returning a flag is a big thing. Even if there's no one around, it's really great to get that practiced and to get it down, knowing that, like, it wins the game. It does things if you can click it faster. It's really important when you're surrounded and it leads to a win. So just then I had to use my trinket to get out of fear. I rarely have to trinket for anything as a mage. Mages can't be stunned because they can blink out of it. So they're like the one class that has a permanent way to get out of stuns. They can blink. No other class can get out of a stun. So the trinket doesn't get them out of stuns. You can save it for other things like slowing effects. It doesn't remove snares. But it's also great as an undead to have a second way out of fear. And if you just aren't seeing a lot of polys, there's only 3 things that'll get you out of it. It's slows, polys, and fears. Won't get you out of snares. So I use it at Liberty if I have it equipped, which I do. So if I ever have Will of Forsaken on a cooldown, I'll use a trinket to get out of fear. I don't mind. I think at this point too, it's a 0-0 match. Flags are still being held. And my team gets a little down. Whoever's shot calling gets a little demoralized, and I just kind of make a comment like, we just gotta keep playing. Like we have this. We just gotta keep going. So I think having positivity when you play with others is really important. Not calling out people's faults and mistakes right then and there. I mean, it's a real time game. So to sit there and start pointing out things that didn't go quite the right way, and I'm talking like, not even strategy stuff, just like, hey, I died. Why'd you let me die? It's like, well, it's not my choice to let you die. I mean, like this. There's certain things when people are on comms, you can tell they may not be adding value to the game. So I typically like to do more broad view callouts. I like to give map positions. Like here I am pinging the map. They said it was going to our graveyard side. They're taking the flag out of our base. They're going past our graveyard, and I even specified it's even further. It's past the woods at the edge of the map. So I mean, we are totally at the edge of the map. There's barely any room. I think when I blink here, I go up to we're at the very edge. And I got a little overextended here. I was a little overzealous, but there you go. I'll die too. I don't mind. It's not that I don't mind, but I'll say this: you got to get your hands dirty. And I've been that way since vanilla. I was always a kind of smash mouth, run and gun kind of guy. I think as I accumulated more gear, the Warlord gear starts to have way more defense, especially as cloth, and way more stamina. Some of the highest stamina gear, and just some of the highest armor gear for clothies in the game for a mage. So I miss having that. It's kind of like I have what would I say? I have like a little extra courage, more courage than other people, and I kind of walk in too close. And I just found that, especially with World PvP, I'm dying more quickly than I remember. So even here, I'm in a bad spot. I'm gonna die. I'm snared. I'm slowed or whatever. Like I'm not getting out. So I try to at least throw all my mana on the table, get some good AOE's. Use any sort of shields you can. Drain your mana as you would your life. Use some mana shields. Use some arcane explosions. And if you can, finish with like a Frost Nova. Again, it's an 8-second snare, and it's pretty debilitating. I mean, it freezes them in place for 8 seconds. So you might as well just be holding them all back. If you can Frost Nova before you die, it's 8 seconds they have to sit there and wait through it. They could trinket out of it, or people could waste mana or waste abilities to get out of it, but even so, not everyone can do that. Some people have to sit through it. So when given the opportunity, if you're about to go down, throw all your mana on the table, find the right target, use your last cooldowns, get a counterspell out, especially even if you have improved counterspell as a mage. That's a 4-second silence. Just find somebody to hit something with. I'm also running a Frost spec here. It's a pure PvP Frost spec. It's something I've gotten used to from World PvP, and actually some semi-moderate rating with it. It's not the best for rating, but it's sufficient to do damage in most raids. What I do like about this spec is I have 2 points in improved Frost Warding, which has been pretty valuable. Actually, I have an HK on one of my highlights on Twitch with it's a Frost Ward that reflects a Frostbolt back to another mage, a mage with a Berserk buff, and it's pretty sweet. Definitely go check it out. Check out the Twitch channel if you can. Go check out that highlight. It's about 1.5 minutes where I get a killing blow on another mage with a Frostbolt reflect. But yeah, I got 2 points. And improved Frost Ward and Frost Warding, actually, so it actually helps your Frost Armor. It increases your Frost Armor's armor value, and in Battlegrounds, as you see, I run with Frost Armor. It's the first thing I do, Frost Armor, and then actually I do have 2 points in improved Dampen Magic, so I may not expect heals all the time, or really most of the time, but I am going to be negating a lot of magic damage, so having something to reduce incoming melee or physical damage for Frost Armor, and then improved Dampen Magic is also pretty handy. I would say if you're solo or groups or anything, I mean, these are key PvP talents, and they're pretty early in the tree. You can afford some points in them. Some of my other favorite Frost talents, which I do need to start getting used to not running with later, is improved Frost Radius, so you can see like bigger Cone of Colds reach a little bit further. Frost Novas are just gigantic, and it also increases the radius of Blizzard. I don't really Blizzard. I don't run Shatter. I don't run improved slowing effects or slowing effects on Blizzard. That's more of a AoE farming. But I definitely like the improved Cone of Cold radius. That with the improved Cone of Cold damage. I think it's a 45% boost in the damage on Cone of Cold. As specified, not reflected in the tooltip, but it's very powerful. Most Cone of Colds crit from about 1,000, sometimes even higher. I've had some recorded at 1,200, and in a battleground with Berserking, I've hit 1,400 for a Cone of Cold crit. It's pretty nice. It's not on a very long cooldown either, so a big source of kind of mid-range and even close-range damage is that Cone of Cold. Together with a well-timed Cold Snap, you can pump 2 of those out if you know you need to just execute somebody. Just Cone of Cold, Cold Snap, Cone of Cold, and you can do a lot of front-loaded AoE damage. It's quite nice. Obviously, having Ice Shards and some other Ice Talents can be very powerful here. So right here, I'm already ready to try one of these Flash Bombs out, but I get kind of heavily stunned here. This mage is just kind of Arcane Explosion me. It's not a lot of damage, and I already put up a Frost Ward. And that's my buddy Dismal. His character name is AZ. He came up right behind me and helped me out, so I didn't even need to blow that Cone of Cold on him, but I'd rather him be dead in case he used a potion. So here's a Flash Bomb for you. He's in bear form, so you see how much faster he turned around. So he got feared the opposite direction. He was probably going to hit tunnel and try to go to the flag room or go pick up speed boost, but I hit him with the bomb. I hit him with the fear bomb, and he did an exact 180, and just like any other fear, it increases your rate of movement. So he started moving backwards and more quickly. And like any other sort of like crowd control, he's locked out. Like, he's pushing buttons, nothing's happening during that time. Nothing at all. He cannot get out of it. So it's a very powerful tool, especially in Warsong Gulch. Arathi Basin, you can find some times to use it. You will. But in Warsong Gulch, a lot of people like to shine as a flag carrier playing druids. And I can tell you this, if they're in travel form and you pop one of those on them, they already go fast in travel form, but this makes them run even faster. And depending on where they go, if they do a complete 180 and run backwards, they can run directly into your team very quickly if you can hit them with a flash bomb. So it's a handy tool. You can use it when they're in cat form. You can use it in travel form. You can use it on bear form. It's an amazing tool. So it's really nice too as a mage. Druids are probably the slipperiest because any snare and slowing effects get removed with shapeshifting, and of course polymorph gets removed with shapeshifting. So feel free to keep those flash bombs. Engineer Mage, Undead Engineer Mage is probably the top PvP build, and this is just one extra tool in your toolkit to CC druids, since they can actually get out of both your CCs. It's nice. It's a form of fear. It's nice being a mage and saying, I can fear something. So I knew if I trinketed out of that while he was snared, I would create some distance. So I just used it then. I haven't been able to use my my trinket very much in Battlegrounds. Don't always need it. There's not too much. Now I'm just kind of kiting him away, and I'm going to get caught here in the wrong spot. So this is what I mean. Sometimes when a Bhajeera would show up, I felt like he's in the wrong spot at the right time. And there he is. I don't know what he was doing up there. There's different stuff going on. I'm running into him. Maybe he was respawning, but I'm running into him because I'm engaged and trying to disengage and create some room, and I'm just I'm doing what I can. I think that's another thing too. People, they make call outs on comms. Team play is team play, but sometimes you just get caught too far ahead. It's not by choice that I'm trying to go up the ramp. That's not the way I'm trying to go right there. I'm just trying to kite a rogue while getting away. He's being healed anyways, or he has a healer behind him. So it's also nice to understand your opponent. So this other mage here, he's had that space helmet on. That's the Goblin Rocket helmet. He's been using ice type spells. You can see Frost Barrier on him, and especially when he ice blocks, you should know for certain that he is indeed a Frost Mage. So I believe I missed the grenade on here. He feigns death, and luckily the team's ready to clean him up. I also blinked behind him. I don't know if he was trying to load an aimed shot or what he was trying to hit me with, but a great thing to do as a mage is to blink towards hunters. There's an exact dead zone. Usually by blinking, you can get in it, or you can get close to being in it enough that they have to start walking. If they're slowed, snared, or if they're just trying to fire an aimed shot, like if they have a cast going on and they don't want to move, you can sometimes just get directly in their dead zone. So it's an inverse of what you would expect. And of course, obviously, if they hit you at max range, you can do a 180 and blink away, and you'll be completely free if they're damaged. So just know that there's two things you can do to hunters. You can either blink towards and stay alive longer and engage and try to kill them, or you can blink away and live to fight another day. Okay. So here's one of my favorite highlights from this video. This is my buddy Dismal. His character name is AZ. He's a rogue. So we're taking the flag out of their room. There's a hunter and a rogue here. So I poly the hunter, and this rogue's kind of getting away, and Dismal comes out and just murders him. I mean, he just annihilated that guy. And it's something when you see your own team's rogue come out and do that to somebody else. And I've had so much fun playing with this guy. There's just such great camaraderie. It just creates a lot of good chemistry, and it makes every game you play even more fun. And there's a nice reflect. I don't know I think that might have been Bhajeera, but it's probably more of a trinket for Frost Reflect. Luckily, I was only using a rank 1 Frostbolt here. So here I am in a bad spot too. I barely get out. He did get this Palm Pyro to the face and then 2 mages. That's a lot of AoE. Just saw his blast wave and a second Cone of Cold from him. So it's one thing to kind of get away. It's another thing to just kind of leave some abilities on the table and then fully get away. I mean, we made a kill out of that, and I'm probably going to live to fight another day here. Oh, and then there's the guy. But what did I do right before I died? You Frost Nova. It's like I barely got enough mana to get 1 Frost Nova out. Just do it. And that's great. Look at me. I'm already rezzed. I mean, it's okay to die. Sometimes you have to understand it's okay to die. Sometimes a res is no more than 30 seconds, and sometimes as little as 3. If you die, you didn't have any mana, you had half health. It's the only thing you can do. So here's our second flag cap, too. It's now a 2-in-1 game. I think for the majority of our matchups here, and again, if you go check it out on comms, it's a great game to watch and listen to on comms. We've kind of had a hunting party, myself and a couple of rogues going into their flag room and finding a horde flag to send it back, finding the enemy flag carrier to send it back, and they've been kind of doing the same. So we have our own flag carrier, and most of the time we're just clumped up in the middle. The flag carrier is actually with the rest of the group, and the hunting party's going into the enemy flag room to return horde flag. So at this point, the 3 of us going, and we have several matchups against just a druid and a rogue. So there's three of us, myself and 2 rogues versus a druid and a rogue. And so in the middle, what they're actually getting, this pre-made with Bhajeera, they're actually getting an 8-on-7. There's only 7 from my guild fighting them fully. So a great job by my guild. I mean, they did everything. They did everything very, very well. We stayed coordinated, and you can really start to kind of adapt to the enemy team. Like if you're going to do these head-to-head sort of battles, you take them. And we had a couple people a couple times branching off and having our hunting party go and kill the enemy flag carrier and return them. This is not a wise decision to actually fight on a graveyard. It may seem fun to kind of camp them, but all it's costing you is health and mana, which is your resources, and you got about 30 seconds before anyone who's dead, they're going to respawn right in front of you. So it's a decent thing to do if you're capable of killing people multiple times over, or if you're just more powerful. It's not a wise thing to do, though, if the match is even, or if you're of even skill and perhaps even skill, playstyle, and gear. The numbers won't add up. You're basically you're in front of the. It's kind of like you're standing in front of the flamethrower there. People are just gonna res right again. So we ended up winning that there. They shouldn't have camped us at the GY. There is a lot of frontline to frontline, but as you saw, Bhajeera's he doesn't really have another frontliner with him, or he's charging in and expecting 1 to 2 people to heal enough damage, but he's getting an entire team unloading on him. So if you're a warrior, you got to be very careful about who you charge. And again, I did go and watch his stream after the game. I went and reviewed it, and he goes toe to toe with our warrior a couple of times. And I used to play a warrior. I'll say this: usually you want to find a cloth wearer. Cloth wearers are pretty decent to be on. In fact, they're ideal. You generate a lot of rage. You hit them really hard. They die very quickly. It's very favorable to be on the cloth wearers. Leather wearers are pretty good to get on as well, except rogues are kind of slippery, or most of the time they'll just pop evasion. So it'll take much longer. You can get some overpowers maybe, but it's going to take much longer to take down a rogue or some of the other leather wearers. Obviously, just running around, ping-ponging who you can, or at least if you can be frontline, if you charge in and get the front line. My personal favorite thing to do was actually go straight midline or even further in, finding that healer and getting on him, just going straight to a berserker stance and intercepting someone else, and then getting a timely pummel. And it is nice that you can take a lot more damage when played as a warrior, but if you're the only one running in and you're up against a coordinated team, they're all just going to turn at you and shoot. They're all just going to turn at you and just throw one ability in the bag, and you're not going to live very long. So this Warlock feared me, and I used Will of Forsaken to get out. I underestimate the range of my my arcane explosion, and I see that several times now that I've reviewed some of my footage from the day. So I guess I just need to be aware that arcane explosion is just not a very big spell. It's not as big as some of my frost spells that are talented to be bigger. I don't know how I'm going to do once I change specs, but I am looking forward to going straight fire. So right now, I mean, this is kind of overextending. We know our power limit. I did catch this guy in a grenade. He is dispelling. They also, Blessing of Freedom had just run out, so he has a cooldown on that unless he wants to actually use a free action pot. But at this point, we do want to stop chase. But aiming grenades and landing them is pretty fun. Unfortunately, because they're such max range ability, it's hard to follow them up with nothing more than a lower rank Frost Bolt, which is a faster cast, or if you are close enough, if you can do it, or maybe if you want to blink towards, you can get a polymorph off. But it's not always ideal to get people at max range. It's kind of like saying, I stunned somebody at 41 yards, and your team's either with you or behind you, and they're like, that's impressive. What do you want us to do about it? So grenades are great. They're fun. It takes some skill aiming them. Here's another one. I landed it on 3 people, I believe. I think I also have a Ice Ward on cooldown, off cooldown right now, so I need to be in the habit of using Ice Ward, Ice Barrier a little bit more. Not Ice Ward, Ice Barrier a little bit more. It's also difficult too. If you can time it up, if you're that close, like if you're in mid-range, I highly recommend using Ice Barrier immediately, then casting Poly, or hopefully having it on already. I mean, it's pretty ingrained that I start most fights, like once enemies are coming, danger's coming, I usually put on Ice Barrier. But if you're in the middle and you haven't used one yet, it's great to use it, then cast Polymorph. You'll, luckily won't receive any pushback and get the polymorph off as fast as possible, which is really important. Here I am again. No frost barrier. Again. So I see my mistakes. It's difficult though. There's a lot of stuff going on, and maybe by habit I just assume that I put it on, or it's always on cooldown because I use it often, and then I just assume it is. But yeah, I need to maybe change my my tooltip, my heads up display, and start using Ice Barrier. See, it's by habit I just use it, or if I have extra mana and I go into this this regen hut, I know that I can use it. I can also conjure some mana gems and get the maximum benefit out of a very fast mana regeneration tool. So at this point, we've had a lot of head ups, just army to army, sort of midfield. And so I'm trying to switch it up a little bit and see if we can get a hunting party going up there. Again, it turns into this wrong place at the right time sort of feel. So not only am I already getting hit by a hunter, he had improved concussion shot. I just got stunned from a from a pet, and then Bhajeera shows up. So I was already getting hit pretty hard. I'm already being overwhelmed, but I don't know. It's different watching it on his end when he just says like, hey, look at this. Happy fun hit. Look at those numbers. And it's just kind of like, that dude was half dead. His blink isn't going to send him anywhere because of the way I was angled. My blink didn't send me anywhere with distance, not to mention it was a charge, not an intercept. So at this point, there's not much I could have done. Not to mention I'm going to take more damage with the Berserker buff. So usually if you get a Berserker buff, know that you're going to take increased damage. You deal increased damage, but you're going to take increased damage, so use it wisely. And it's great as a 1v1 tool, or to open up at range as a mage or a hunter or certain classes. But if the numbers aren't in your favor and then you start to fight with it, you're only going to go down faster. Just know that you die faster. You can kill stuff faster, but you can die faster. So here I am. I actually make it upfield, less detected. Probably detected, but they probably didn't decide to actually follow me up here. And I'm meeting up with my other hunting party. I have a couple of rogue friends here. At this point, the base looks very empty. This is what I would call the second level. Third level's the roof. First level's right here, and he's just right around in the corner. I got stunned as I was trying to get a flash bomb off again for the Druid Fear, and I dropped this. he basically was in human form. Right as I dropped it, he'd already shapeshifted, and it triggered while he's in human form, so doesn't do anything to him. But once he's in bear form, or if you can find an ideal time, I think earlier too, what happened in our favor is that we feared him, and the rogues were able to get a lot of combo points on him while he was feared. So now it's a 3v1. We've already deleted their rogue, and I click the flag, send it home, and there's your 3-1. It's a really good game. I have a couple flag returns. Again, I think a lot of deaths, but that happens. Sometimes some games you're a little more courage than you're used to having, or it's like anyone says, you gotta get your hands dirty. You gotta get in there. It's okay to die from time to time. What's better is to be smart about how you die, or be smart about how you can get away. There's several times I got away, so if I can go in and live a little bit longer and use all my resources, get away, that's fine. So, all right, everyone, that's the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Please, indeed, go check it out in the link. Go check out the Twitch full live version of it. It is a great fight to watch. It's great time on comms. I really do enjoy my guild. They're a great set of people to run around with. It's very fun. Warsong Gulches are great. They're very fun battleground to take a break from Archaic Valley grinds, although they may not be as popular right now. So please like, comment, subscribe, and we will be doing this again. Thank you.